Sports betting? 90% of profits go to the out-of-state corporations, permanently. Only 8.5 cents is left for the homeless. And in Virginia, Arizona, and other states, FanDuel and DraftKings use loopholes to pay far less than was promised. Sound familiar? It should. It's another bad scheme for California.
The top ways hackers trick you into handing over your password, plus what you can do to better protect your accounts in TechSmart.
Wednesday at 5 a.m.
Now at noon, a COVID wave could be making its way through LA County as public health experts begin recommending safety protocols once again. Thanks for joining us for the KTLA 5 News at noon. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. After months of relaxed COVID restrictions, case numbers are once again beginning to move in the wrong direction.
Well, some doctors are urging people to mask up indoors. KTLA 5's Courtney Friel is live in Santa Monica with more details. Courtney.
Hi, Glenn and Lou. I've spoken with a handful of doctors this morning, and they all are seeing COVID cases rise over the past few weeks. And that is the case here at Brentwood Urgent Care as well. And the numbers are likely higher because so many people are taking those tests at home. But another way we can tell a surge is happening is that COVID hospitalizations in LA County are rising again, up 29% since last week. That's the highest increase since January. Case rates are rising too, up 16% from last week. So because of that, health officials are urging residents to start wearing their masks again if they've stopped doing so at schools, stores, and workplaces to help slow down the spread. Part of the reason for the recent increase, people have been wearing their masks less, and the BA.1 and 2 Omicron subvariants are more contagious. And now there is the BA.2.1.2.1 and BA.2.3 variants we have to worry about. Those are showing up in many of the analyzed specimens, and our current vaccinations might not provide as strong enough protection. Still, we are not at the point yet where the CDC would recommend county health officials re-implement a universal mask order in indoor public settings. I just spoke with the chair of pediatrics at Providence St. John's Hospital, who says she's concerned about the younger population getting and spreading COVID, the kids who can't get vaccinated yet, and those whose parents won't give their children vaccines.
A lot of people feel like because COVID has quieted down, that if they do have a cough or a runny nose, they still can go to, an event and just kind of stay away from people. But no, it's still spreading. So if you are sick, stay home. If your child is sick, have them stay home from school. Remember that those home tests are antigen tests, so they're not PCR tests. And the real way to be sure if you have COVID or not is to confirm it with a PCR test. So if you do test positive at home, or if your child tests positive at home, I would take them to get a PCR test for confirmation.
I asked Dr. Fisher when she thinks COVID is going to be over. She says she wishes it was tomorrow. They are just all exhausted, but that she does think that there will be less COVID cases through the end of the year and that the variants will be less severe, but that we still need to be vigilant, wear masks, and get our booster shots. Reporting live from Santa Monica, I'm Courtney Friel, KTLA 5 News.
Courtney, thank you. We also have an update today on COVID vaccinations for young children. The FDA has authorized booster shots of the Pfizer vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. Data from Pfizer shows the booster provides a significant increase in efficacy against the Omicron variant in this age group. According to the CDC, only 28% of children ages 5 to 11 have received the initial 2 doses. The Pfizer booster is intended to be given 5 months after the second shot.
Turning to developing news in Orange County, where officials announced charges against the alleged gunman in Sunday's mass shooting at a church.
Yeah, the suspect could face the death penalty if convicted. KTLA 5's Kimberly Chang is live in Santa Ana with the very latest details. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, the 68-year-old suspected shooter is also expected to be arraigned in court today. Take a look. This is his photo. David Cho, seen here, is expected to be arraigned, as I mentioned, this afternoon. Cho is the suspect in Sunday's church shooting in Laguna Woods that left 1 man dead and 5 others wounded. Cho allegedly opened fire during a luncheon at Irvine Taiwanese Presbyterian Church in Laguna Woods. Now, a community is mourning today. The victim who died, Dr. John Chang, was a prominent doctor in OC, a husband and father. And based on notes that were recovered from Cho's car, investigators say it appears that Cho, a Chinese immigrant who is a U.S. citizen, was upset with political tensions between China and Taiwan, and he expressed hatred of the Taiwanese people.
Today, we formally filed 10 counts against the defendant, Chow. The first count is murder in the first degree against Dr. John C. It has an enhancement of lying in wait. Lying in wait with the personal use of a firearm makes this case alone, without more, life without the possibility of parole, assuming we can prove all the charges and that the jury finds that the enhancements are true, or death.
Now, the 5 victims who were wounded are all expected to survive. Reporting live in Santa Ana, Kimberly Chang, KTLA 5 News.
Well, President Biden and the First Lady visited Buffalo, New York today to pay tribute to the victims of Saturday's supermarket mass shooting.
The president denounced racism, calling the suspected racially motivated attack terrorism. KTLA 5's Corrine Winter live in the newsroom with more. Corrine?
And Glenn, one of the most powerful parts of the president's speech this morning was right off the top. He paid tribute to all the victims and took time to name each one by name, humanizing all of them. He also condemned white supremacy and called on Americans to take a stand against hate crimes.
As a nation, I say to the families, we remember them.
The commander-in-chief consoling the nation. Those devastated by the latest mass shooting, this time in Buffalo, New York, a predominantly black community where a suspect who authorities called a white supremacist gunned down victims with an assault rifle, killing 10 people at this grocery store. An alleged racist attack President Biden described as domestic terrorism.
In America, evil will not win, I promise you. Hate will not prevail.
Earlier in the day, the president and the first lady laid flowers at a makeshift memorial outside the supermarket while meeting privately with the families of the victims, first responders, and local officials. During his public remarks, the president didn't specifically address the need for stricter gun laws, as many Democrats are pushing for, only alluding to the need to keep assault weapons off our streets. His focus was a call to action in America to reject racism.
The evil did come to Buffalo. It's come to all too many places. Manifesting gunmen who massacred innocent people in the name of hateful and perverse ideology.
The president also took aim at the media and the hate speech he said is poisoning this country.
And it's been allowed to fester and grow right in front of our eyes. No more. I mean, no more. We need to say as clearly and forcefully as we can that the ideology of white supremacy has no place in America. None.
The mayor of Buffalo just wrapped up a news conference. He met with President Biden today and said that the president talked about what could be done to end mass shootings and all the violence sweeping communities across the country. The mayor also said the first funeral for one of the victims killed in this attack will be held on Sunday. You'll hear more from that official coming up on the KTLA 5 News at 1. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Corrine. The Department of Homeland Security has uncovered a massive drug smuggling tunnel that runs between Tijuana and San Diego. The cross-border tunnel is about the length of 6 football fields. It was built in one of the most fortified stretches of the border and includes electricity, ventilation, railway cars, and reinforced walls. More than 1,700 pounds of cocaine were recovered from the tunnel, along with methamphetamine and heroin. 6 people from Southern California were charged with conspiracy to distribute cocaine.
A San Fernando Valley lawmaker is calling for a 30-day closure of Whiteman Airport in Pacoima after a series of recent crashes. U.S. Congressman Tony Cardenas, whose district includes Whiteman, is also calling for a safety audit. The most recent incident was in April when a small plane crashed alongside the 210 freeway. That killed the pilot. And in January, a small aircraft landed on train tracks near the airport and was struck by a Metrolink train. The pilot of that plane was rescued by LAPD officers. Over the past decade, 13 crashes have happened at or near Whiteman, which is owned by LA County. The FAA says it has not received any requests from the county to close the airport.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk says his deal to take over Twitter cannot move forward until the company shows public proof that less than 5% of its accounts on the platform are fake or spam. Musk made the statement as a reply to a Twitter user yesterday. Musk claims at least 20% of current accounts could be fake. He also hinted he would like to pay less to buy Twitter than the $44 billion offer he made last month. At this time, Twitter claims it plans to complete the deal as previously agreed and wants it done by the end of the year.
All right, we went outside for that cool kite segment and a little hazy, Casey, outside.
Comfortable.
It is.
But comfortable, yes.
Comfortable for Glenn in his suit, so he's happy about that. But most of us are still seeing that cloud cover, as you can see from our Huntington Beach camera, and it's going to take several more hours before we do start to see some clearing. Temperatures outside right now, 69 degrees in Burbank, 68 for Santa Ana, also 68 in Corona, and 62 degrees in Oxnard. And here's a look at that cloud cover over the last hour. So inland spots already seeing clear skies.